Have you ever gone to purchase a camera and wondered, how much resolution do I even need? Well, I've gathered a wide array of Sony full-frame cameras that represent every single megapixel count sensor they've ever made, except for one, to do a head-to-head A, B, C, D, E, F comparison. That way, you know how many megapixels are right for you.
Before we get started, I want to say that this is not a Sony camera comparison. It is a megapixel count comparison. So I want you to be able to compare it to any other cameras. So I will be listing as many of the cameras as I can find in the megapixel range of the cameras that I'm using. For example, there will be an A7R III, which has a 42 megapixel sensor. The Nikon Z9 and the Canon R5 have 45 megapixel sensors, so you can use them to draw comparisons. Also, I don't want you just listening to me because I have a tiny little pea brain. So if you want to see the photos for yourself and draw your own conclusions, I have uploaded them to a Dropbox. And if you just click the link in the description, you can input your email and I will send them to you immediately. More accurately, a robot will send them to you immediately. Full disclosure, your email will go into a mailing list. I don't know if I will ever start an email mailing list, but my mom said it's important. So if you don't want to be in that list, just unsubscribe right away. Also, check your spam folder for the photos. Let's begin.
To have a fair comparison, I'll be shooting all of these cameras through the same 24mm G Master lens at the same backdrop. That way, there's no variables. Other than megapixels.
Oh, right.
So to compare all of the cameras, we've got this backdrop set up with my dad for scale. That way you know what size of things you're looking at. 24mm lens is set to f8, trying to get the maximum sharpness out of the lens. Every ISO will be set to 100. First camera, the Sony FX3, 12 megapixels. I don't know any other camera brands that make 12 megapixel cameras. If there are, they're right here. The 12 megapixel sensor started with the Sony A7S line, the Sony FX3. All of those are video-based cameras. So you wouldn't necessarily buy this for photos, but we have used this for real estate photography.
Did yesterday.
You did yesterday?
Yeah.
My dad used this for real estate photography yesterday. You don't really need a lot of resolution for that. So here we go. Okay, that was exciting. First shot down.
Okay, here we go. The 12 megapixel image. Nowadays, it would probably be considered unprofessional to show up at a professional shoot with 12 megapixels. But 15 years ago, you would have been balling. So let's see what they were working with back then. As I said, I have used this for like real estate shoots, stuff where you're definitely not cropping. And I've brought it to weddings as like a C camera in case my A and B camera just craps out. That's an absolute last resort though. I should say, I put my dad in the image to give scale because I feel like we see test charts, but we don't know how large the image is. So it's kind of hard to tell what you're looking at. So you can see there's a human in the bottom left of the frame. And you know, obviously in this size, especially on YouTube, but even I cannot tell a difference just looking at it. But if we zoom in here, you can see the words on this bell, not legible. You can already see some loss of quality at, 400% zoom, which is a lot. Say you wanted to crop down to just feature my dad, which is something you might do on a 50 or 60 megapixel sensor, you can definitely see loss of detail. So you definitely aren't gonna wanna do heavy cropping on this. I think having a 12 megapixel camera completely written off for photography is a bit of a stretch. Would I show up to a professional shoot with one? No. But would I go take pictures for fun with a 12 megapixel camera and be happy with the results? Yes. At full resolution, you are never gonna be able to see the difference. Now, if you're printing, maybe that's a different story. But here, you have plenty of resolution. Although once we zoom in, you will see the difference in the bigger files. I wanna also point out that having my dad in the image is probably not the most scientific thing because he is not gonna be critically sharp compared to the rest of the image. I wish I could have turned my dad into Flat Stanley so he could have been, right up against the wall. Not feasible, unfortunately.
Next camera is the Sony A7 III, which has a 24 megapixel sensor. 24 megapixels is like the bog standard for cameras nowadays. Like it is the minimum for a photo camera you would have. Here's a list of Sony and Canon and Nikon cameras that have a 24 megapixel sensor. By the way, I'm focused on the background, not my dad, so that the background is sharp, and then we can just use him for scale. Okay, ready? 24 megapixels done.
Okay, Here's the 24 megapixel image. Like I said, this is like the bog standard for photo cameras now, about the minimum that you want to have for a professional photo camera. Like the A9 III is a $6,500 camera and it's 24 megapixels. It's not a super high resolution camera, but it is more than enough to get by with. So here's a comparison, 12 megapixel on the left, 24 megapixel on the right. Already a massive jump in resolution. If we look at this net on the diorama, you can see there's a massive jump in resolution as well. You can actually see the detail in the holes. Again, on this book, massive jump in resolution. So yeah, 24 megapixels is probably the minimum you want to have for modern day photography, even though you could get away with less back in the day, and it's probably still possible. With a 24 megapixel camera, you're not really going to be able to do an APS-C crop, which I find incredibly valuable in situations where I don't have control over the situation, like a wedding or an event. So 24 megapixels, plenty fine for photo, not the most flexibility that you could have.
Now we're on to 33 megapixels. This is the Sony a7 IV. They just released the a7 V, which also has 33 megapixels. Here's a list of other cameras that have that sensor range. Ready? Thank you for that, Dad. Another tidbit, every camera is set to uncompressed RAW and extra fine JPEG.
So here's the a7 IV, the 33 megapixel camera. 9 megapixel jump from 24 to 33. When you zoom in, you see we have, great levels of detail on about everything. You'll see on the 33 megapixel, you can actually see the pores on my dad's face, which is a 418% crop, which is just ridiculous. This point and on, I think the difference is imperceptible without cropping, right? Unless you're printing a billboard, which even then you're not printing a billboard at full resolution. Really what you're gaining is croppability. And you can see why the a7 IV is such a popular camera. 33 megapixels is a step above the baseline and gives you just a little bit extra flexibility. Here's another display of the difference. You can actually read the name of the author on the book.
Next camera, 42 megapixel a7R III. This is around where the flagship Nikon and Canon cameras are. The R5 and the Z9, I think, are both 45 megapixels. Correct me if I'm wrong, Editor Max. So if you're looking at a Canon or a Nikon, this is about where they max out. So here we go, are you ready? Gorgeous.
Now, here's the 42 megapixel a7R III. It's kind of crazy. This camera was released 7 years ago in 2018, and Canon and Nikon have yet to surpass 45 megapixels. This is a 42 megapixel camera. Sony has released the A1, the A1 Mark II, the a7R IV, and the a7R V, and the a7CR, which are all higher resolution than Canon and Nikon's highest resolution cameras. Now, I will say, you will notice that the difference between 42 megapixels and 60 is pretty negligible, but it's still there. Here's the 24 megapixel sensor on the left and the 42 megapixel sensor on the right. You can tell there is a big difference. Getting much finer detail with the 42 megapixel sensor. Looking at the skin on my dad's face, you can see that the wrinkles of the wrinkles are showing. Dad, I'm sorry, maybe 42 megapixels is not for you, but you're getting a massive level of detail. You can really, really crop with a 42 megapixel sensor. And 42 megapixels is right about where you can start using the APS-C crop as well. So the APS-C crop mode on the 42 megapixel a7R III gives you 18.8 megapixel files, which is definitely enough. As we've seen, 12 megapixels uncropped is fine. So 18 megapixels is good, as long as you're not printing massive prints.
Next, we have the 50 megapixel Sony A1 Mark II. Don't know of any other cameras that are in this range in other brands, but I'm sure they're out there. This is probably the most feature-packed and most expensive camera in this list, although it is not the highest resolution. All right, here we go, ready? If one of these photos is not like sharp, it's just gonna fuck everything.
Yeah, it turns out I actually did get one of the photos out of focus, so I've had to reset the entire scene. From the very beginning, I had to drive all the way to pick this camera up. It was really awesome.
Here's the Sony A1 Mark II. That's actually what I'm filming this segment on. 50 megapixel sensor. Really, I would say the jump between 50 and 42 is negligible. So here's the Bell, 42 megapixels on the left, 50 on the right. Maybe a tiny jump in quality. You will never ever crop this much for any reason. However, again, if you're cropping and then printing, maybe that's a different story. The thing you do gain with the A1 is outside of resolution. You're getting speed, you're getting video, you're getting other things that are not what this video is about. Again, here's just a minor jump in resolution, maybe even imperceptible. I'm trying to zoom into ridiculous amounts because I know how hard it is to see on YouTube. And here's 50 and 24, noticeable.
And for the final sensor in the lineup, we have a 61 megapixel A7R4. They now make an A7R5. I know Leica makes a Q3 at 60 megapixels. They make an M11 at 60 megapixels. I don't know if any other big three camera companies use this sensor, but I know Leica does. Anyway. Thank you, Dad, for being such an amazing model.
Finally, here is the 60 megapixel A7R4. Very popular sensor, used in a lot of cameras. Is the detail going to be noticeable? Let's find out. So here's the 60 megapixel A7R4 with its predecessor, the 42 megapixel A7R3. Minor jump. Minor jump. When you're cropping this much, you're introducing more of the imperfections of the lens than you are the resolution of the sensor. Unless you have a perfectly sharp lens, it is really hard to compare these differences. There you can see 60 on the right, 42 on the left. Definitely a jump, not a huge jump. This is a ridiculous crop. There's 50 on the left, 60 on the right. One benefit of a 60 megapixel sensor is now your APS-C crop becomes a 24 megapixel image, which for most people is a professional level megapixel count, and you're getting that inside of a 60 megapixel full frame camera. So for events, stuff where you don't have control over where everyone is, having that extra flexibility is very useful, which is why I bought the A1. Having 50 megapixels and then an APS-C crop of 21 is very useful for the kind of work I do. Necessary? No. Useful? Yeah. So in conclusion, you can get so many cameras that have a 24 megapixel sensor. If you're planning on being photo first, I would probably start there at the minimum. I think if you're deciding between Nikon because they have a 45 megapixel sensor and Sony because they have a 60, I think the difference is so negligible that it should be the other things that decide what camera you're getting. 45 megapixels is way more than enough. So how much resolution do you need? Well, that's a question for you to answer. I use the 50 megapixel A1, it's awesome. Do I wish I had 10 more megapixels? No. Would I be missing 5 megapixels if I had a R5 or a Z9? No. Would I be missing the extra resolution if I had a 24 megapixel sensor? Absolutely. If you enjoyed this information, let me know what more information you would like. Also, I want to shout out Hannah for filming, my dad for posing. Also, I want to shout out my dad for lending me the FX3 and the A7R4, Adrian for letting me borrow the A7 IV, Joey for letting me borrow the A7 III, and Elam for letting me borrow the A7R3.